Hello, my beautiful bitches. It's your girl, Ginger Fahrenheit, here with another very special Becoming Ginger. I promise I'll be back next week with my usual fare. There are many drag topics on deck that I do want to do vlogs on, but today is a very important anniversary date, and I can't ignore it, and I have promised to never forget. And again, I feel compelled to try to make a difference, however small. I apologize for relying on a script again, but this is very personal, and I wanted to make sure I remembered everything. And I wanted to say that I did the subject justice. On this day, 14 years ago, I had absolutely no idea that my life was about to completely change. It was my fourth day of my freshman year of high school. And, I was sort of a big personality, if you can't tell. But I was finding my niche in the music department. The band kids, they're the best. I vividly remember walking out of my physical science class. It was a Thursday, and passing one of my oldest and dearest friends, Andy, in the hall. We'd known each other since we were 5, and we were completely yin and yang, totally. I was always, larger than life, and he's very quiet and very shy. He always had a smile on his face, never had anything bad to say about anybody. He was tall and skinny, and he had the whitest blonde hair I've ever seen. And he kept it cut really short and kind of spiky. And I'd always run up to him and I'd rub his head because I'd be expecting it to be super sharp, but it was always really soft. But on this particular day, I smiled at him, and he smiled back, and he said, "They didn't put your locker in the dungeon, did they?" My brother, who was a senior, kind of teased us that the freshman lockers were in this abandoned part of the building, off the beaten path. And when I'd seen Andy at orientation, I told him all about that. And I said, "No, I lucked out. I'll see you around." And that was the last thing I ever said to him. Andy had a very different first 4 days than I did. We had completely different schedules, so I wasn't witness to any of it. But we later found out that he was being viciously bullied by the upperclassmen as part of freshman hazing. They mercilessly called him names, and it hurts me to say that they used to call him faggot. Just to give you a clearer picture of the environment that we lived in and grew up in, this is the shirt from my senior year homecoming, which has our mascot's name on it. I don't know if you can see that, but it says midgets. Yeah, you read that right. It says midgets. We're the mighty midgets. It was not uncommon to hear somebody say, "That's Jewish," when they didn't like something. This is the area that I live in, okay? you know, that's the mindset of this area. And it's an extremely small town, less than 4,000 people, so you sort of feel like you live in a fishbowl at times because everybody knows everybody's business all the time. And if you're not normal, life can get rough around here. Rumor has it that Andy was stuffed in a locker and beaten up. He never said anything to any of us. He kept a smile on his face, and he suffered in silence for those 4 days. And then he came home, he found his father's hunting rifle, went down in the basement, and ended his life. He was 14 years old. As of today, Andy's been gone for as long as he was here on this earth. And there's just something so wrong about that. The older I get, the more I realize just how young he was to feel that way, to feel like he was hopeless, there was no hope. And what breaks my heart the most is that this freshman hazing and bullying, it still happens. And we're still losing kids like Andy every single day. And the consequence of what kind of loss that is just immeasurable. I'm sorry. I'm like trying to keep it back. I know for me, it wasn't just losing my friend, someone who'd always been in my life, someone that was kind and had this calming presence in my life. It was losing my childhood innocence. It was realizing that terrible, horrible shit can just happen to you, and sometimes there's no good reason for it. It caused me to question my Catholic upbringing. To this day, I really haven't been back. It left me so confused and depressed that I sort of just put these walls up around myself to protect myself. And I became really sheltered and introverted and depressed for years after. I wasted a lot of my time I was just too afraid to take any risk outside of the box because I was just trying to, if I just stayed, normal, then things would turn out better for me, I thought. And my life has just kind of gone into a tailspin because of it. Now, multiply that by all of Andy's friends and family, and you might get an idea of what this sort of loss does to a community. If you follow me on Twitter, you may notice that I retweet a lot from the Trevor Project and other anti-bullying sites. Teen suicide prevention has become my pet social cause for obvious reasons. I never, ever want what happened to my community to happen to anyone else. It's important to know the warning signs of suicide. If someone is withdrawn, anxious, irritable, not sleeping, suffering from mood swings, loss of interest in hobbies, acting irresponsibly, especially if they start talking about feeling helpless, like it's a no-win situation, and it's really important to get that person help. Trust me from personal experience. It's better to get someone help and be wrong than to be afraid to say anything and happen to have been right. If you or someone you love is in need of assistance, please find the numbers and websites in the About section to find help. And if you have an extra $1 or $2, please consider donating to one of these organizations so that they can help as many people as possible. You have no idea how much I wished Andy had gotten help, or that I'd seen any indication that he needed it. I dedicate this video to my friend. It's funny, his favorite band was Everclear, and every time they come on the radio or on my iPod, I like to think it's his way of saying hi to me. I still think about him often, and I miss him very much. I thank you for listening to his story, as he should never be forgotten. All my love. Bye.